So hello people, today we'll be talking about a movie that has deeply impacted my life and all the lives out there in the globe. A movie that made me look at space travel differently, a movie that made me look at human emotions differently, and a movie that made me think of as a species. Not as a human, but as a species. 2014 movie Interstellar that talks about space travel, that talks about how human emotions are something beyond our comprehension, something we haven't understood yet, but we follow along. A movie that beautifully follows the journey of a father and his daughter, and how he's trying to save the people on earth, and how their love is what creates something extraordinary in the universe.
Go for main engine start. T-minus 10.
Dad!
9.
Dad!
8. 7.
Dad!
6. 5. Main engine start. 4. 3. 2. 1. Booster ignition and...
Love and emotion is something this movie heavily writes on. Okay, Interstellar is a movie that shows us that love and emotion are something beyond our comprehension, something we can't yet understand, but how our life is deeply impacted by it. Okay.
So listen to me when I say that love isn't something we invented. It's observable, powerful. It has to mean something.
Throughout the whole universe, where she knows no one, she feels pulled by that. There's this feeling, right? It's something we feel when we love our parents deeply, maybe our partner, every kind of feelings that we feel, she feels that. And she feels that we should follow it, right? Often in our life, we feel such stuff. We feel intuitions, we feel there's this calling, and people around us, they tell us that you should follow it, you should go for it, right? But what is this energy? What is this energy? How does it relate to everything around us? And we'll be coming to that, right? So if you're talking about Interstellar, this movie is a lot dependent on that factor, on emotions, okay? Heavily centered on it. Cooper and Murph save the earth, but when Cooper leaves Murph, that is when Cooper leaves his daughter, you can see that she is extremely disturbed by it, because she's not going to see her father for a long time, and yet throughout the whole movie she is always wearing his sweater, so she is deeply attached to him. You can also notice in the later parts of the movie, she never changes or she never modifies her room after her dad leaves her, because that is the last time when she sees her dad, which is a very, very emotional moment for her, right? How that comes into use is when Cooper jumps into the black hole to save the people back on earth. He knows that he might not survive. There is this 99% chance that he may not come out of this alive, yet he does that. We can see glimpses of him, seeing his family members and all of that, because he thinks he's going to die, but he keeps up faith. He has this deep desire inside him to save the people of earth, and he jumps into the black hole. At the same time, his daughter Murph, back on earth, goes back to that room, that very emotional room, and she says that she is going to save the people on earth.
Feeling. I told you about my ghost. My dad thought I called it a ghost because I was scared of it. I was never scared of it. I called it a ghost because it felt like a person. It was trying to tell me something. If there's an answer here on Earth, it's back there, somehow in that room. So I have to find it.
You can see that there's this simultaneous pull that is caused by emotion. Obviously there's this faith, but at the same time they jump and come there. Now when Cooper is in the Tesseract, okay, now Tesseract is like a time machine through which he can see glimpses of time, but the main issue here is how does he transmit that information, the information he and Tars have gathered, how does he transmit back? on earth, how, which time he can use to transmit it back on earth. This is where love and emotion comes into place.
It's infinitely complex. They have access to infinite time and space, but they're not bound by anything. They can't find a specific place in time. They can't communicate. That's why I'm here. I'm gonna find a way to tell Murph, just like I found this moment.
How, Cooper?
The love, Tars, love. It's just like Brand said. My connection with Murph, it is quantifiable. It's the key.
Okay, think about it. If the bulk beings, if the people out there, if they were so capable of building a tesseract, a time machine, if they could create a black hole, why didn't they transmit the information back themselves? Because they could not find a specific point in time. And how do we find that specific point of time? We are connected by emotions, we are connected by love. He has his daughter's bedroom, her whole life in front of him, and he knows the moments at which they shared love, they shared emotions, and that is the strongest point of time. That is a point where love transcends all that emotions, and this is what the concept that I am trying to tell you. Love and emotions transcends all dimensions of time and space. You want to think about it? Tell me, what is your strongest memory of your childhood? Maybe your dad brought you some gifts, maybe your dad and mom were happy and they were laughing along the road, or you achieved something in your life. All of that is guided by some emotion. You can feel it strongly. I can feel my childhood strongly. I can go back and remember all these things strongly because it is guided by emotion. Okay, so what emotion does, it makes me travel through time without me ever realizing it. I can exactly remember the day when I stood first in school and my mom and dad were there and they were clapping as I was teary-eyed. I can still feel that moment because it is connected by emotions. It is connected by something deeper. And that's what Cooper is able to do. He relays that information back through the watch which he had gifted her, and that's how the whole stuff happens. Now, how is it important? Let's just say, okay, there's this time machine. Okay, now when you have a time machine, you can go to any time in the past, right? And you have to understand that time space is a dangerous dimension. At this time it's 10 o'clock for me, okay, here, but it's 10 o'clock all around the world. It's 10 o'clock in your room, in all the universe. So 1 second, which seems so little for us, is actually a lot of data. So when you have a time machine, you have infinite amount of data back out there. How can you choose which time to jump in? Your mind will be confused, and that is something beyond human dimensions. But love is something that can anchor you. Your emotions that you feel, it can anchor you back. A similar short film was made named La Jetée in 1961, a French short film, right? This short film exactly deals with this issue. So this short film is like a post-World War scenario in French, where all of the life is devastated. There is famine, there is nothing to eat, and there are some people that are living underground in a cell. So all of them were wondering that, we are going through tough times. What if someone could travel back to the past and stop this war from happening at all? Because then our life would be better. Or what if someone time travels and asks for help from the past? So what they do is, underground in the tunnel, they design a time machine. Okay, and then what they do is they test that time machine on various soldiers. One after the other, every soldier starts dying after he's being put into the time machine. But there's this one soldier, and he has a fresh memory of a girl he loved, and she loved him back too. But before the World War, they met by the river, they met by the sea or river, I don't know, but they met by the sea, and he has the strongest memory of looking at her and smiling at her. So when he is fitted into time machine, he uses that anchor to pass, to be present at that point of time, and thus he creates a portal. So the portal through time is created by emotions, is guided by emotions. So when we are feeling stuff, when we are understanding, when we are feeling something, when we are Steve Jobs might have failed at some point of time, that I should build something of my own. Everything that is pioneered around us, somebody might have failed something, and you have to understand that those emotions are not only a way for us to travel back in the past, it is also a way for us to look into the future and for the future beings to look in the past. So when you feel those emotions, it is something guided across time. It is something that is beyond our comprehension, and that's why you should go for it. That's the most beautiful thing Interstellar has taught me. That's how I look at emotions, that's how I look at love, because it has a lot of power. It has created God, it has created religion, it has created a lot of belief out there that has changed the world for better. Okay, look at it this way, look at it time space way, look at it through your religious way, but emotions and love are something beyond our comprehension, and someday we'll understand them, someday we'll get to them. The next concept this movie deals with is time space dimension. So there's this scene in Interstellar, right?
Gravity's punishing.
Been floating through space too long?
130% Earth gravity.
In this scene, you can see that they're on Miller's planet, Cooper and his crewmates along with Dr. Brand, and this planet is extremely close to black hole, that is extremely close to Gargantua, and therefore the gravity is very high and the time runs very slow. Now what you have to understand that 1 hour spent on this planet is equal to 7 years back on Earth. So they are very cautious into spending as little time as they can, but some accident happens and in the end they end up spending 3 hours on that planet, which means 23 years have passed back on Earth. At this time I was really emotional, and so were other people, because we've seen how beautiful the relation between Cooper and his daughter was, and she's all grown up. Okay, so there's a scene when Cooper goes up and he's looking at all these memories, and time has passed. His son has grown up into a man, he's gotten married, he has even his own daughters, and his daughter is all grown up. She never comes to talk to him, but through all of that scene, Cooper starts crying. Okay, and this moment really felt close to our heart. This moment really pulled me in, because it is what we experience in our life. Okay, time and space is a dangerous dimension, and it passes on. Okay, it's 10:07 a.m. at my place, and it is 10:07 a.m. or different kinds of time all over the world, but you can never have this time back. It is going to pass. I can be here at this moment. I cannot be with my parents, they're in the other room. I cannot be with my sister. This time is passing, and I can never have that back. And when you magnify it, you understand that people that are staying away for education, some of you are abroad, studying. Some of them are soldiers, some of them are out for a war, some of them are out due to some responsibilities or job. They're missing out on a lot of time. When they come back, they feel that time has passed without them. Okay, and this is a dangerous dimension, because we can never have that time back. We can never have the first day of the school again. We can never get a first kiss in our life. We can never experience those moments, because time is continuously passing along. And when put that way, death is not the dangerous thing, it is time. And time is always passing, time is always moving ahead, and we can do nothing to stop it.
Time is relative, okay? It can stretch and it can squeeze, but it can't run backwards.
So you might be saying, Vivek, why are you coming up with all this depressing thoughts and telling us about it? No, this is what happens, and we should understand it beautifully. I'm here, I'm in this room now. 10 years later I might not be here, but this is what I'm going to remember. I'm going to remember this moment. How? Because nature has given us some cheat codes. So how do we stop that time from passing? What is our cheat code? Our cheat code is memories. Make memories. Capture as many pics as you can, shoot as many videos as you can, document stuff. Think about it. Where would humanity be if all of the stuff that have happened like 2000 or 2 million years ago, all of them weren't documented? We won't know about the sciences to create all of this stuff around us. We won't know how to construct houses. That is documentation. Documentation is a cheat code through time, right? So when you're looking at your childhood pics, I'm sure you can feel that. I'm sure you can feel that the time has passed, but we've captured that. So there's this beautiful line in Interstellar.
After you kids came along, your mom, she said something to me I never quite understood. She said, now, we're just here to be memories for our kids.
So this line tells us that our parents are our memories, the moments that they spend with us. So capture as many pics as you can, shoot as many videos as you can, do stuff with your parents, tell them you love them, tell them, even with your partners, even with your loved ones, even with your sons and daughters, do that, because someday you're not going to have that. And at that point, what will you will feel really glad that you captured those pics, because you'll be able to travel back in time, right? So this is that cheat code. This is that cheat code. Create more of these memories and defect time. So the third concept in Interstellar that I'm going to talk about is the concept of day and bulb beings, right? So throughout the movie, you can see that there's this wormhole that is being built. Even when Cooper jumps into the black hole, he has this whole tesseract through which he can, travel back in time, through which, he can pass the messages. But who built all that? Because humans were not capable enough to build that, and wormhole is not a natural phenomenon. In the movie, they say that they have built it, or the bulb beings. So what are those bulb beings? What is they? And how is it important from our point of view?
An hour ago, you didn't even know I was alive. I mean, you were going anyway.
We had no choice. But something sent you here. They chose you.
Well, who's they?
Cooper says earlier in the movie that the people, they are our offsprings, our evolved versions, are versions from the future. And this is very important, right? As it shades a very, very important concept out there, is that as we evolve, as we change, okay, and I mentioned earlier that how through the help of emotions you can travel back in past or future, but the people that have already evolved, are they trying to communicate with us as well? Are they impacting our lives as well? The intuitions that we feel, the guidance that we give, are the people from future guiding us? Because if we are not guided, they won't be there in the first place. So is this what intuitions are? Whenever I say that I have an intuition, I have an calling, is the people from future, are the people from future guiding me? Okay, why is all that important? Why am I getting into so much complex concepts? Is because humans have not been genetically evolved to think as a species.
You never would have come here unless you believed you were going to save them. Evolution has yet to transcend that simple barrier. We can care deeply, selflessly, about those we know, but that empathy rarely extends beyond our line of sight.
Okay, we understand only what is in our line of sight. We care about our sons, daughters, parents, our loved ones, our wife, our girlfriend, or anything that is around us, but we don't ever think of as a species, right? And why is that important? It's important because there are issues like climate change, there are issues like depletion of natural resources, and nobody takes them seriously. It's because the people in their line of sight are happy, are living in their own way. But you have to understand that when you are a species, your future species won't be able to evolve, won't be able to live if you utilize everything, if you damage the mother earth, right? And how is that related? Because if they're trying to talk to us, we have to save them as well. Okay, this is cyclic journey, as mentioned in the dark as well. This is the most important concept. The beginning is the end, then end is the beginning. So if we don't save them, who will save us? The fourth thing in Interstellar that is explained is, or the movie is set up, is space travel, right? So I've seen a lot of space movies. I've seen a lot of movies where space travel is mentioned, and every movie is guided by the fear and maybe some kind of excitement, but this is always guided by fear, right? Because face it, space is scary, right? We don't even know what's out there. It's much bigger than what our little earth is, right? So space travel is always guided by fear. But Interstellar is the first movie that has added another dimension, that has added the dimension of human emotion to space travel. Okay, all of this journey is steered by Cooper, who is out there only because he wants to save his daughter, his son, and all the people back on Earth. That is his primary motivation. So when he's out there in the space, he's actually out there because of his survival instinct.
You know why we couldn't just send machines on these missions, don't you, Cooper? A machine doesn't improvise well because you can't program a fear of death. Our survival instinct is our single greatest source of inspiration. Take you, for example. A father with a survival instinct that extends to your kids. What does research tell us is the last thing you're going to see before you die?
And the same survival instinct Dr. Mann talks about. And this survival instinct makes him do things that he can't even think of, that a normal human won't do. He jumps into the black hole for God's sake. He makes rash decisions. He follows on them. And all of that, he's out there in the unknown. He cannot feel that fear because he's guided by survival instinct. Our ancestors have felt it. Even some of us have felt it while falling down, while 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 we were injured, or while we had accidents. You have to understand that at the times of survival instinct, we push ourselves to unimaginable limits. Okay, and you have to take this concept and apply it in other parts of life, like your ideas. What are you as a human? A lot of stuff is happening around the world. There's a dictatorship coming up. You can look at Vladimir Putin. Governments are not listening to people. The ideas that you believe for, the human that you stand for, don't they have a survival instinct as well? Shouldn't you push your limits just like Cooper did? Right? This is what this movie really teaches me. This is what I wanted to share with you. And that's it about the movie. I really love this. I'm not sure if many of you people have watched it till the end. But for the people who have watched it till the end, I really hope this made some sense. This added something valuable to your lives. And what's ahead? Okay, so as I said, think of yourself, think of the people around you as species. Do that change. Read about time. You read about time relativity theories, read about general relativity, read about time, read about physics, read about everything that is out there, because what is the fun without it? When you think of yourself as a species, life will make much more sense, like universe will make much more sense, and you will resonate with all the energies that I talked about. There are many movies out there which are like that. I'll be covering all of them, but make sure you do follow up on this movie, right? I'll be also coming up with a short film on my own that will exactly explore these concepts, and we'll talk about them. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. This was it from me this time, and next Sunday I'll be going up with another story, another movie probably, and we'll be talking about all of it soon. Thank you so much.